You think you know why Doc Hudson disappeared. The official story is clean, simple. Paul Newman passed away, and Pixar retired the character out of respect. That's the real-world answer. But let's be real. There's a lot more to it. The in-universe reason the Hudson Hornet went dark, the one the studio buried before it could reach you, is a biological reality so grim they decided kids couldn't handle it. Hey, I'm Mr. Blessed. In the last video, we proved something the studio never says out loud. These characters aren't machines. They're living organisms sealed inside steel exoskeletons. Their oil is blood. Their grills draw oxygen, and their engines, those big rumbling blocks under the hood, are beating biological hearts. Today, we're not running a general anatomy class. We're looking at one specific patient. Because to understand what happened to Doc Hudson, you don't need to know the legend of the fabulous Hudson Hornet. You need to read his medical chart. In the early 1950s, Doc was operating at peak biological condition. His dual carburetor respiratory system gave him a lung capacity that no competitor could match. His cardiovascular output, his raw engine power, was in the top fraction of a percent for his species. He won 3 consecutive piston cups. He wasn't just fast, he was an apex predator. Then 1954 happened. The Fireball Beach 500. A rookie clipped him. 2 tons of living organism left the track at race speed and rolled. When you watched that as a kid, you probably pictured dented fenders, cracked paint, a workshop visit. That's not what happened. At race velocity, that roll produced severe thoracic compression across his ribcage. His hydraulic tendons, the connective tissue that lets him steer, brake, and hold his line, ruptured. His internal oil lines sheared under the lateral force, producing a closed internal hemorrhage. To put it simply, his central organic core, his heart, sustained a non-reversible contusion. He was basically destroyed from the inside. The second film shows you what total neural collapse looks like when a living machine takes catastrophic blunt force. A secret agent gets compressed into a cube. The lore confirms the trauma triggers an immediate, system-wide shutdown. Doc's crash stopped just short of that threshold. He survived, but the organ damage was permanent. His rehabilitation wasn't a parts order. It was months of tissue repair, nerve reconstruction, the slow, grinding process of teaching a damaged heart to hold a rhythm again. When his cardiovascular function recovered enough to race, the industry discarded him. And you know exactly why. Corporate sponsors don't carry liabilities. They looked at his post-trauma biological profile and pulled their contracts. Think about what that does to an organism built to compete at the highest level. That's what drove him into the desert. That's what made him choose a disguise. But here's the question nobody asks. Why did the fastest car on Earth spend his exile as a small-town doctor? The official lore says Doc found a broken-down British car on the roadside during his exile, repaired him, and realized he had a gift. So he earned a medical degree in internal combustion. In this world's biology, internal combustion medicine is cardiology. Doc survived a severe contusion to his own central core. He watched corporate physicians treat injured organisms as write-offs. So he became the doctor he never had. He treated degenerative necrosis, what we'd call rust, as the systemic tissue decay it actually is. He flushed toxins. He sutured hydraulic ruptures. He kept organisms alive that the industry had already written off, all while his own engine, his own heart, was running on borrowed time. His twin H-power block never fully healed from 1954. He knew it. He felt it every time he pushed past idle. So here's what Pixar planned, and then decided was too heavy to put in front of children. The original script for the third film included a flashback. Doc and McQueen are running the dirt track together. Doc is pushing his cardiovascular system to its limit. It looks like joy. It looks like a mentor and his student at full speed. And then Doc's engine stutters. His combustion rhythm breaks down. He decelerates. He settles into the dust, and his heart stops in front of McQueen. They cut it. But the medical logic is airtight. Doc didn't get scrapped. He didn't crash. His central core, the same organ that took a non-reversible contusion in 1954, finally reached total failure under peak cardio stress, acute myocardial infarction. In a world of living machines, even the strongest hearts have a finite number of beats. His resources ran out. Now here's where it gets dangerous. Think about it for a second. Doc spent 50 years in that desert. He knew its legends. He knew what Route 66 does to the dead. The residents of Radiator Springs treat the ghost light like a campfire story, a glowing orb drifting through the dark stretches of highway. Most people assume it's a prank, but you already understand the biology. These organisms run on bioelectrical current. Their engines fire spark after spark to maintain neural function. That current doesn't just power movement, it's the substrate of consciousness itself. And energy can't be destroyed, it transfers. When an organism in this world suffers complete neural collapse, when the heart stops and the electrical system discharges with nowhere to go, that bioelectrical current doesn't vanish. It separates from the physical body. It drifts. The ghost light isn't folklore. It's the residual neural energy of a dead organism. A consciousness with no body, cycling through the desert with no direction, no memory, and no end. That is terrifying. And Doc Hudson knew it. His heart was failing. He knew the timeline. He'd watched his own biological data long enough to understand what was coming. He didn't want to become one of those lights in the dark. He needed a transfer vessel. A younger organism capable of absorbing and carrying his bioelectrical neural code before his own system discharged. It had to happen before total collapse. After that, the energy scatters. It becomes incoherent. It wanders. Then, a loud, arrogant rookie named Lightning McQueen rolled into his courtroom. Let's be completely honest. Doc didn't mentor McQueen out of warmth. Not at first. If you look closely at their early interactions, he pushed back. He tested him. He was running diagnostics, figuring out whether this organism had the neural bandwidth to carry what he needed to transfer. McQueen had the bandwidth. So Doc spent his final functional days doing what no one in his life had ever done for him. He poured everything in. Racing lines, dirt technique, pattern recognition built across decades of competition. The full architecture of how a Hudson Hornet moves through the world. It wasn't coaching, it was a biological upload, a survival mechanism. His engine gave out, he discharged, but the discharge was controlled, channeled into a vessel that was already primed to receive it. Doc didn't become a ghost light. McQueen repainted his exoskeleton in the classic blue. He took the racing number. The industry renamed its biggest prize the Hudson Hornet Memorial Cup. Every choice McQueen makes on the track runs on Doc's neural code. That's not a metaphor. In this world's biology, that's the closest thing to survival that exists after the heart stops. Doc Hudson lived through a traumatic crash that should have ended him. He survived being disposed of by a system that only values the undamaged. He spent 50 years in a desert, carrying a failing organ and a racing mind with nowhere to put it. He found his vessel with about 3 minutes to spare. And somewhere out on Route 66, the ghost lights that didn't find a vessel are still drifting. You know what happened to Doc now, but this ecosystem runs deeper than one organism. Have you ever thought about what these living machines actually consume when fuel isn't enough? About what the tractors are running from when the combine comes out at night? Frank's rotary blades aren't designed for crops. Click the video on your screen. Radiator Springs is about to get a lot darker. I'm Mr. Blessed. Keep your oil clean. Watch out for the harvester. I'll see you in the next one.
Son of a gun didn't talk to me for 50 years. But then one day, the letters started coming in, and every last one of them was about you. I'd loved racing, but coaching you, I'd never seen the old grump so happy.
Got a little carbon there, boy?
Yes, I...
Hud saw something in you don't even see in yourself.